Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. I got a few sheaths to show you, and these are all going out to Dion in Ventura, California. And Dion's ordered a few times from me now, so I'm really excited. I've got a lot of return customers, and most of them come back for a second one, but Dion's come back for 3 already, so I'm really excited about that. So this time around, he sent me a couple of large fighting knives and a folder that I'll save for the end because it's a cool sheath. Alright, so we have the Ontario SP-6 and the K-Bar Big Brother. So both these very similar style. They both have a little bit of a rubberized handle, but the SP-6 is more of a soft rubber. You can see how much that flexes. Not to say it's super soft. You can definitely feel the resistance and the grip. It's rugged, but but it definitely has a little flex to it. So as you guys know, when you're molding around rubber, you have to be a little bit careful, and you can't mold quite as tight as you would around harder materials like metal or wood or micarta or whatever, because the Kydex grips against rubber really aggressively. So you wind up with a situation where the drawing and resheathing motion, that friction against that rubber, actually starts to chew the rubber up a little bit. I'm gonna shut that off. That's my griddle. I use a griddle to heat my Kydex. I have no idea why it's whistling at me, but that's probably not a good sign. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. I'm definitely not going to edit that out. That's hilarious. Alright, so anyway, so you got to be a little bit cautious with that. So he asked for the SP-6 to be done in black basket weave, and he wanted a couple of IWB clips on it. Reason being, he plans to carry this mostly inside the waistband, and the ride height, I left quite a few options on there. You can see most of these eyelets can pair with one other eyelet, so you have at least 3 or 4 different ride height options, and you can invert it and all that good stuff. So let's get to the fun part and see how the knife fits in. The only thing with this is you kind of do have to look at it for a second and figure out which direction it goes. You can see that lines up. That bigger sweeping edge is the blade edge, not the back there, not the spine. So just be careful with that. So anyway, it goes in super smooth, as you can see. And this one of the very few sheaths I've made that does not have any kind of click. So you just push it until it bottoms out, and you can feel the resistance as you get in there. That friction becomes a little more intense, and you'll feel it gripping your knife. So you can see sucker's not going to just come out on you. I mean, I'm really shaking it, and it's not even moving. But at the same time, it is one of the easiest draws out there. So it all comes from just the Kydex and the rubber gripping really aggressively. So yeah, that's what I got for you on this one. Alright, moving on to the Big Brother. So this one's actually a pretty cool sheath. He had asked me to put a few attachments on it, and he was really specific with how he wanted those mounted on there. So I've already sent him some pics, and he approved, so I'm glad. And let me show you this guy here. So this is a pretty rugged system. I really like it. What we have here is black multicam fabric Kydex. So if you haven't already checked out the fabric Kydexes, I have to admit they are really cool. It's just a really thin layer of fabric that's glued onto the Kydex. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you real quick so you can see the difference. I'm going to show you a few different things. Sorry, bear with me, guys. There's that. Sorry, I know this is an awkwardly long delay on the video. Just hang tight. Maybe I'll try to fast forward through this so you guys don't have to deal with it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to show you a few regular things, and then I'll show you the counterparts in the fabric kind. So we have, this is the infused multicam that is out there right now. regular OD green and the ever popular Cryptek Typhon. So you can see how, I mean, they all look really nice. I like them all quite a bit. But then we're going to ramp up the cool factor a little bit. This is the multicam fabric, and I'm a little bit disappointed. Knife Kits was doing this color scheme like this. You can tell the color is quite a bit different between these two multicams. They were doing this in a Kydex, but they stopped because their infusion process wasn't as good as this. It had tendency to crack and all this other stuff, but the color was way cooler, I thought. So I'm a little bit disappointed. But we can continue it with the fabric Kydex, so just to know that's an option. Alright, so there's that. Here's the OD green fabric. I mean, it looks very similar, but get it up close and you can really see the texturing on there. Actually, you can see the break there where it transitions from plastic to a piece of fabric glued on it. And then lastly, we have the Cryptek Typhon, which almost has more of like a blue hue to it. So the fabric Kydexes are really, really cool. However, I will tell you right now that they are the only Kydex that I charge more for to put on your sheath. And the reason is because they are a royal pain in the butt to work with. I mean, they just sincerely take significantly longer to do anything with because the edging on it is a real pain. The fabric, when you cut, starts to fray on the edges, so I have to go around the whole edge of everything with a lighter and, you know, just nip them all. It's just, it takes a lot longer to do the edge work on fabric Kydex, or at least the edge work that I do with my stuff. So, anyway, sorry for that incredibly long ramble. I think that was like 4 minutes of the video. Anyway, so the fabric Kydex, royal pain in the butt, but I do admit they look really cool. So if it's something that you're interested in, let me know. I'd be happy to do that for you. So this one, he added a flashlight, and first the orientation, he specifically wanted it to be inverted, and he planned on putting a couple cable ties through the bottom two eyelets to mount on his belt. So we got that going. And now he also asked me to put this Leatherman juice up near the top. So it has a little bit of a, it's not a super tight draw, but it's tight enough. You might need to brace it. I'm not sure how sturdy your cable tie or your zip tie or whatever you're doing for the belt carry. I'm not sure how sturdy that is. So I'm guessing you're probably going to want to reach over and brace the sheath and grab your little lanyard and pull that out. The other thing is this is not actually a symmetrical tool. You can kind of see it here, but this side, the stainless side, as you're looking at the face of it, is actually quite a bit wider. So you can only put this in one direction. So just make sure the Leatherman wording is facing outward. There's no wording on the other side or lettering, whatever. So just make the lettering face outward. You're good to go. It goes in pretty easy. It's not really a click. You can hear it bottom out when it hits in there, but it doesn't have a, a snap retention, that kind of thing. So, all right, we got that. He asked me for a Kubaton on there. He sent me this thing, and he asked for it to be a one-way drawing up with the point down. So that, technically, I can't really get it to be officially a one-way draw, but that paracord on there acts as a pretty good stopper. So it's not just going to come out the bottom. You really have to pull that pretty hard to get that paracord to thread through there. However, you do have the option, if you ever wanted to orient it tip up, you can always do that. There was just nothing I could do to make it exclusively a one-way draw because this is not a tapered, other than the point itself, it's not a tapered shaft. So it has to be a set, fixed parallel tube there all the way through. As for the flashlight, he asked for that bezel up and drawing downward, one-way draw. And you can see that these textured rings around the middle of that head of the flashlight are actually wider than the bezel itself. So I was able to mold in and get it a little bit tighter around the bezel and then wider from here down. So this is a one-way draw. You can only push it up so far before it will naturally find a stopping point. And that stopping point puts the bezel just outside the Kydex. Which also means, technically the option exists for it to go this way, although that would be stupid, but the bezel does fit down through that side. It's just, you can't put the whole light down in there, so there's that. And I'm finding it kind of has some sweet spots, so maybe I'll work that just a little bit more to round it out and try to get it as even as possible, but it seems to have a couple tighter spots depending on what direction what angle you put the light in. As far as those textured rings have like flat spots on them, so some of them are, I think, hanging up on the round part of that Kydex. So yeah, I'll work that a little bit more before I send it off to you, buddy. Okay, there's that. And then he asked for an OD green logo plate there, and it kind of makes the black multicam look a little green in a way, doesn't it? There might be a little hue green in that. But anyway, that's that. The draw on this is superb. It is so easy to draw. It's got a good click. It's got a metal handguard, so I was able to mold a little bit more aggressively than I did on the SP-6. And there's no play, no rattle. It doesn't have a ballistic one-handed draw, but it's certainly a one-handed draw. Of course, we'll be doing this inverted, so very, very easy. Let's see, anything else on this? One thing, when you go to draw it, if you're going to use, you can definitely grip it and rip it. That works just fine. I would recommend using the thumb brake, and how I would do that, instead of pushing straight against it, which you can totally do, but you'll probably end up kind of hitting the pad of your thumb on the handguard here, I would recommend just kind of pushing a little bit sideways, like you want to spread these two layers apart. So just pick a side and kind of push against it, and it just pops it out super easy. So, alright, so that's this guy. Really happy with how that came out. And then the folder. So we got a Cold Steel Talwar, and if you're not familiar with those, it's a really, really big folder. I'm not sure if they come in. Cold Steel loves to release things in like 4 different sizes. So this might be like the larger version of it, but it's a big folder. So anyway, he asked for this thing in Urban Digital, and he wanted an IWB tether for the auto open sheath. So this is actually only the second time I've done one of these, and it's a pretty cool concept. I'm really happy that I ended up kind of doing this sort of thing. I don't know if anybody else is doing this or not, but I'd kind of stumbled on it as a good solution to a request for an inside the waistband auto open, and I couldn't get it to actually deploy from directly inside the waistband, so it came up with this tether idea, which is a thing. You know, people do carry sheaths on a tether, but this is specifically hooked to an IWB clip. And just in case you guys are carrying similar to what I do, usually I have a sheath right here in this belt buckle position, so I have my buckle off to the side. But if you ever put your IWB clip over, you know, where your excess is, I don't recommend that. You want to put your IWB clip over the actual fastened part of the belt, because sometimes it only grips onto this, so you wind up just yanking the IWB clip right out. I've done that with a holster, and I've done that with this thing when I was giving it a test. So anyway, sorry for more rambling, but so all you got to do, it has this little clip here, and this is literally just it's just a stabilizer, something to keep it sitting on your pant line, belt line, whatever. And oops, got hooked on the pocket clip for the knife. So you can see it conceals really well. Even when I'm kind of sucking the shirt in, you can almost not see that it's there. It's a really well concealed design. And then all you do is just grab the knife by the handle. Make sure you don't grab the blade at all, because you might inhibit it opening, and give it a good pull. And bam, you got yourself an automatically deployed knife there. And this is not, for those of you out there who are skeptics or anything, this is not a spring assisted blade at all. It's 100% opening from the sheath. So let me give you a little slow-mo demonstration. As you pull on this, I'm going to brace the sheath. As you pull your knife, the sheath wants to keep gripping that thumb disc there. I don't know if you'd call that a thumb disc or not. Whatever you want to call that thing. It wants to keep gripping that. So as you pull and separate the handle from the blade, the momentum is actually what will open it. So you get it, the sheath will open it about that far naturally, and then it's just the momentum of doing it quickly. So you do have to do it quickly. Luckily, that's kind of a natural result anyway, because the sheath wants to keep holding on to it. So you find out as it releases tension on it, it kind of jerks away a little bit quick anyway. The other thing is, if you go real slow, you can see me kind of dragging the IWB clip around. I might be able to drag it a little bit further. Yeah, so you can move quite a bit. But if you do everything really quick, yeah, I guess it still moves. There are ways you can fasten that down if you really need to, but for me, that belt loop stops it, and my draw range is only about a foot anyway, so just be careful what and who is around you. Obviously, you gotta avoid casualties when you're drawing your knife out, but this is gonna turn a lot of heads. Sorry, my rambling and speech impediments this morning. I'm so tired. Yeah. So anyway, I don't have too much to say on this. I think it speaks for itself. It's a pretty cool sheath. Urban digital camo is the color on that, in case you guys are wondering. It's like a gray digital camo, and that's that. So, alright guys, before I ramble and dig my hole any deeper, I am going to sign off. So, last look at the sheaths. If you like these things, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you like my channel, I ask you to subscribe to it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of these, and share it with all your buddies. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stick around for the next one. God bless.